Yeah, so I had driven myself down to the Great Salt Desert in Utah, and it's where they tested all the jet cars, jet motorcycles, and the rocket cars, and all that. I had driven the rental car that I was driving out on the salt flats because there's nothing to do there. You walk across the street. It's called Wendover. It's called the Bonneville Salt Flats. And you one step you're in Nevada, one step you're in Utah, and so it's gorgeous. It just looks like there was a full moon out, and it just looked like a giant skating rink, like a skating rink, to eternity is what it looks like, because the salt flats go for a long ways. That's where the Donner Party kind of lost a lot of time trying to make it over the Sierra Nevada mountains into California before the winter.
Donner?
They were a settler party, the Donner Party, and they got bogged down in the Great Salt Desert because it rained and it all turned into like a slushy brine, and with the wagons and the animals and their hooves, it was a fiasco for them to get out of there and out of it. So they lost valuable time and had to didn't make it over the Sierra Nevadas, but had to weather it in the whatever region of the mountains, and they actually had to resort to cannibalism. When you're ever watching The Shining and they talk about the Donner Party, that's what the kids talking about.
Okay.
So that's where the Donner Party lost valuable time, but I had a nice time. I had a nice time. It was a beautiful night with a full moon, and it was just like a skating rink to eternity. And I drove out on the salt flats quite far. You gotta be careful you don't get in the wrong area because you can get bogged down. But I drove out to a nice area, and I was just I had the doors open, listening to the great stereo that I had rented in this vehicle for the stereo. And I just had a puff, and had a couple of nice cold Coronas to go along.
So a puff of what?
Oh, I just smoked a joint, and then I had some nice cold Coronas, and I was just listening to music and looking at the stars because it's fabulous stargazing, and then but there was a moon out, so it did take away a bit, but it still looks fantastic and beautiful, right? The full moon out on the salt, and along came a disc, a nice pie plate shaped disc. This one was very silvery, like chrome, and it came along, and I felt that it was observing me. I did feel that it was observing me, and it was bouncing around here and there, stopping, moving, and you'd kind of almost like wish it to do something, and more times than not it would actually do that. So you say go up, down, or it would kind of do that. So, or it was in my head, or it was in my imagination. But
see, people are going to say you're smoking pot, but you don't think it's hallucination.
Yeah. No, not seeing the craft. Definitely not a hallucination. But whether it was actually observing
responding
me
to your
is
command.
Just my opinion, I guess you could say. So no, I was not impaired by any means because I was yet to drive, and
it's just one joint, you mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Half a joint, whatever.
So how big was the disc?
Definitely not impaired, but watching the show, it was neat. It wasn't there for very long, probably about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes.
So that's long enough.
Yeah, and for you to kind of gauge that I did think it was observing me. It knew I was there at the very minimum. It didn't care about me in the least.
And you're all alone in the middle of these flats.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Was it scary?
No, I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. Maybe that's stupid. Maybe I should have been, but I wasn't. But in my other experiences I've had, I've not been scared either.
Did you have any missing time?
You know, I'm scared when I see a ticket on my windshield. That's the hard going. But these kind
Especially
of things
the cost
do
of
not.
Vancouver for a ticket. Oh, that is scary.
These kind of things they don't frazzle me. They don't frazzle me. I'm just glad to have them.
Yeah.
Gladly accept.
Give us more detail. Do you think you had missing time at all?
No missing time. No missing time. Back to the Motel 6.
What did it look like? How big was it? How big was it? Any lights on it?
It would have been about the smaller of the three that I've seen, and I'd say 60 feet. But totally shiny silver.
Wow.
Shiny silver.
So it was at
bright,
night.
Like bright.
Was it like
bright.
emanating light or just reflecting light?
It wasn't emanating light. It was
There's
silver.
moonlight though,
There
right?
is a moon. Yeah, there
Reflecting
is a
moonlight.
moon. There is a moon, which will, turn a cloud silvery. But this was chrome itself. Like it was like it looked chrome at least. It had a chrome appearance to it. With whether there was a moon or not, it would have still had that appearance.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just possibly brighter. It seemed bright, but it wasn't shining a light, or it wasn't like powering up as some people describe them, and they go kind of white.
So there's no sound?
No sound. Oh no sound. No sound.
So your other two had no sound either?
No sound.
Wow.
No sound.
So did it have any lights on the flying disc?
No.
Wow.
No.
And was it level? Was it tilted?
Out of a 50s sci-fi movie, but it was more of a hamburger. This one, it was more of a hamburger. It wasn't as, thin. It was more
thicker.
It was more like a slightly less exaggerated version of a Nerf ball shape.
Wow.
I guess.
Did it tilt at an angle? Was it level?
No. It was just always no tilting or anything. Just very
up and down.
And it looked neat. It looked fantastic. It was very cool. It was a really great night to go out there and to catch this, to see this, and to listen to some really far out music at the same time.
Wow.
And I got lucky. I had a neat experience.
It is lucky. Any other details about it?
No. I did go out the second night out there. I spent 2 nights there, and
Were you looking for it?
Oh yeah, I was, but no, I didn't see it. But during the day, to kill some time, I thought I'd drive out on the salt flats. There's tracks from other people driving. You can kind of see where it's dirtier on the. It's just like snow. You got the dirty snow. That's where the car tracks are.
Oh.
So I drove out on them and drove out on them and drove out and went for quite a ways.
You didn't see any landing pads for the flying saucer?
No, 10 kilometers, say. And I started bogging down like you're in snow and losing traction. I was like, uh-oh, this is not good. This is a long walk on a really, really hot day. So I just gave it some gas and spun around, and I made it. And I got back onto the path going home, and that was my fun for the day. And I went back out that night, but I still had a really awesome night with the full moon out there and just listening to my favorite music and nice cold Coronas.
Well, I want to relate this to your experience. You mentioned when you lived at the Knights of Malta house. That was around 2003, just prior to this, and you felt maybe a spirit was protecting you. I wonder if that spirit is associated with you seeing flying saucers 2006, 2007, 2008. I wonder if there's an association there. Because we know there is a theory that the aliens have a relationship with the Knights of Malta, the human power elite. So maybe they would know you actually right at an alien level. So they know you, then they hang out with you. Because this happened after your Knights of Malta experience.
Are they seeing if I'd be a good worker for them, like a good janitor or something for them? Is that what they're observing me for?
Well, you said yourself you think you had a spirit kind of, a good spirit or something protecting you.
I do. I'm not so sure about the one in the house though. Since filming the last time, I was thinking about it. For the last thing that happened, which is I said, now show me something, and the Venetian blinds flew from,
Yeah.
they were at the very bottom, big heavy ones, and for them to fly that high up and smack down, something else could have been done that would easily catch my attention. That seemed a little bit violent, possibly.
Yeah.
So that was the only thought I had had since filming it with you.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that made you a bit uneasy.
Well, because it didn't at the time. It didn't at the time. But thinking about it,
Yeah. So maybe it's a bit of a malevolent intention, maybe not so protective.
Definitely trickster. We have
Yeah.
to say definitely trickster. Trickster motivated. I mean, to lean the painting with the 3 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah.
It's trickster element. Look
Well,
what I can
do you feel you've been protected since then, or what?
I think I was protected before that.
Ah.
I've always had something protecting me, I feel, and I would have had too many occurrences go wrong if I didn't have something.
I wonder what's your gut feeling about the flying saucer sightings. Do you think there's any association between that and what came before, like Knights of Malta? Are you feeling a protection before that?
I'm sorry. Could you ask the question again?
Yeah. What's your gut feeling? Do you think there's any association between your 3, flying saucer sightings and your Knights of Malta experience, or just that feeling of protection you had before that?
How are they related?
Yeah, is there a connection, or is it completely unconnected?
I think they're completely unconnected, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Well, you were there. You would know better than me. I'm just trying to
Totally.
see
Yeah, I
connections.
just think I do believe they're unrelated. But learning about the New World Order and all its intricacies, and learning about that and living in the Knights of Malta house at the same time, that's something like that's quite a coincidence. Quite a coincidence. That seems to me like it was meant to be.
So you think it was good they had the experience for your education?
Oh, I'm really glad I had the experience.
Oh, it's good. Yeah,
Absolutely,
good.
absolutely. I mean, seeing can be believing. Seeing can be believing. So.
Yeah.
So.
I've never had an experience like that. Anything else you want to add to your flying saucer experiences?
No, it's
Just those 3 in your lifetime,
yeah,
right?
it's just those 3. But most people never see one. But my grandmother had seen one, along with like thousands and thousands of other people in it. It was either Winnipeg or Regina back in 1910 or something.
Well, tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Well, everybody in the town one day kind of dropped what they were doing. This is before jet airplanes, and everybody saw what they described as a red hot iron moving around through the sky, zigzagging. And I checked it out in a book in the 80s when I was young. I actually found the very sighting all documented.
Thousands of people saw it.
Oh yeah, I think like 10,000 people or
This is
something.
Winnipeg?
Yeah, people didn't have their faces in their phones back in,
Wow,
in those
this is
times.
1905.
Back in these times, right?
Wow.
And there's horses going down the streets, and so people are probably possibly a little bit more aware. I mean, they're outside working. Hard not to notice something red. In an iron shape, the shape of an iron, like with its handle kind of thing.
You mean the iron for your clothes?
Yeah. So that's what they described it. So it probably didn't have the handle on it. It was probably just like, like what an iron looked like.
Yeah.
They were oval. They were oval looking. And my grandma, I remember she had them. You'd heat them up on the stove, and they were and you could drop the block, the heavy iron block, and then you could pick it up with the handle.
So she personally told you this story, right?
Yes, she personally.
Were you a
told me
kid
this
or an adult?
I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a kid.
How young were you?
Oh, probably. She told it to me a few times. 10.
Okay.
You know.
Wow. So, any more details about the sighting, like how long it went on for?
No, I feel bad that I haven't gone back.
But people could probably look it up on the internet, right?
Look it up. Yeah, it's either, I think it was Winnipeg, but it could have been Regina.
Okay.
Because she lived in both places. And yeah.
See, I'm thinking these things run in family. Like, you don't feel you're an alien abductee. You don't think you've had that experience, right? Because those things do run in families, right?
Yeah, I hear they can, and
Well, they do, yeah.
I hear that, and certainly psychic phenomena, psychic experiences, they do seem to run in families. It's just, you know, the genetics of your brain, how your brain works. So some people are on different.
So that raised the question about your mother or
levels.
father. Were your mother or father have any experiences like this?
No, my dad totally believed in everything, UFOs and everything, but he had never seen one his friends had, his hunting friends had.
What about your mom?
My mom had not. My mom had not.
So you don't believe that you're an abductee yourself?
No.
No experience that would indicate that?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I wouldn't think so.
Wow.
I wouldn't think so.
But that is so cool, your grandmother's experience and yours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, you can find it in whatever book you're looking at.
Well, I'll look for
I
it,
guess
and we can
people-
put a link below this video if we can find it on the net. We'll put a link below this video.
Yeah. This was in the library of my elementary school that I found it. It was like a UFO book they had.
Really? Was that in Vancouver, your elementary
Yeah,
school?
that was in West Vancouver.
Well, you grew up in West Van.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, wow.
So,
Wow, this is great. Anything else you want to add to that, Ryan?
no, I don't think so. Not at. I can't think of anything more. But yeah, you know, when you get talking about these things, your mind gets working, and you remember details.
Yeah, sometimes you remember more
details that you didn't think you had.
Well,
to
we can
offer.
edit in more later if
Yeah,
you have more details
okay,
later.
Okay.
Just like police detectives, they say, if you remember any more details, give us a call.
Give us a call.
But thank you, Ryan.
Okay,
Appreciate
well,
it.
thanks for having me on your show. Thanks a lot,
Okay,
Ryan.
thanks.